Japanese movie fanatic Nate coming right back at you from Tokyo. Not really. To review the second Godzilla movie that exists, called Godzilla Raids Again. I had never seen this movie until Classic Media put out the DVD that features both versions. I don't think I even watched the American version at all. I had never seen this movie until then. I don't think I ever necessarily knew about its existence until then, which is cool because that means I saw the Japanese version first and only. So Classic Media, like in the mid to late zeros, which I call zeros, which is the first decade of the 21st century, 2005, 6, or 7 or whatever, they were putting out these Godzilla like DVDs which featured the original, which is very long time coming and very welcome. Featured the original Japanese versions in addition, which was kind of cool. Not that I had watched the American versions, in addition to the American versions. So it was cool to finally have some of these things in the original form with the original language and stuff like that, especially, which is probably one of the, don't quote me, but probably one of the most butchered ones, which is of course the first one. So Godzilla Raids Again. This is kind of cool, and interestingly enough, I just rewatched this within the last week or so. Yeah, I had forgotten that this actually features, and I don't know that this is the very first time in the movie history that Anguirus made his appearance. It might be Anguirus' debut appearance, which is of course a Godzilla monster who will be featured on many, many more Godzilla movies to come. And I haven't seen all of Japanese kaiju movies by any stretch of the imagination, so I don't know if this is Anguirus' first appearance or not. But at any rate, it's the first time he appeared in a Godzilla movie. So, and probably I would say probably his first appearance. So it's kind of cool in the second movie to have because when I put it in recently, I'm like, oh, cool. I didn't remember. I probably only saw it once or twice back when it came out. I didn't remember that he fights a monster. That's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. I kind of like how Godzilla, even after like a year or whatever, because this came out like a year later, I think, has he looks kind of goofy in the puppet head version and stuff like that in the first movie. I just, as I mentioned, kind of have a little bit of a problem with, just because it's I don't know, whatever. I'm picky and I'm an asshole in that regard and stuff. Although it's it's quaint and cool, I guess, puppet head, whatever. So where was I? Oh yeah, what I was saying is in just 1 year's time they did a pretty good they changed Godzilla a little bit and making him look kind of cool. I kind of like how he looks in this movie. He's changed around a little bit. And one of my biggest complaints with the movie, having rewatched it, is it's like the fights between Godzilla and Anguirus are like high speed. I don't know why. I don't know if they thought that, oh, we want to do this in slow motion, so let's see, how do we do that? Well, we run the camera slow. Ho ho ho. I don't know if it was just intentional or if it was a screw up, because I don't know, but that's one of the things I was kind of disappointed in. Like, why is it high speed? Like, it's the wrong. It should be slower than reality, not faster. But maybe they thought that. I don't know. That's one of my biggest problems with some of the special effects of this movie, is that the fights, a lot of the fights, or some of the fights, are like high speed, which makes it look just dumb. So maybe they hadn't realized how to do slow motion yet. I don't know. But this is kind of forgettable, I'm afraid. I'm going to go 2.5 stars on it. It's competent. It's competent in the sense that it's still being serious, and it actually features like that one professor guy, that older guy, I think from the first one, I think is back, which is kind of cool to see him back. And I guess they kind of try to do the thing a little bit with the human story of having. It's kind of cool, I guess, by having that one pilot guy who was like trying to find a girl or whatever, and he had a picture of that. I don't quite understand it. Like the picture of that schoolgirl in his wallet or whatever, and he's like, what do I buy for a girl, or what do I buy for a woman, or he's trying to get advice from the other girl or whatever and all this, but he ends up dying, which is kind of sad. In a way, I think it's their way of trying to retread the success of what they did emotional story of the first one, which is, I don't think, as strong, but it's certainly better than some of the stuff they come up with later on by leaps and bounds. So I guess not too terribly much to say about Godzilla Raids Again. It's they're kind of just banking on the success of what they. I can't remember a lot of it. I remember, that there's a lot of like plane flying around. These people fly planes. Shit. I apologize. I'm not gonna. Yeah. A lot of it is not. I haven't seen this as much as Gojira, so that's probably why I can't remember it as much. But I remember being pretty impressed with, Godzilla in general in this movie, being kind of disenchanted with how he's portrayed in the first movie. The problem is they just made such leaps and bounds from the first movie between then and now that it's just like it's so hard for me to watch that first version. Certain aspects of the first version, like I say, puppet head and stuff, and the breath, the fire breath and stuff, when it's so badass radical on the the Millennium stuff, and it's just like just mist coming out. That's just me being just anal about my Godzilla breath and stuff. But 2.5 stars for Godzilla Raids Again. It's still fairly serious and straightforward and not tongue-in-cheek like unfortunately the next one is. So I think we'll leave it there for Godzilla Raids Again, and thank you very much for watching, and sayonara. I'm not making fun of them, I'm just saying what they say. Sayonara. I'm referring to that guy in the first movie who's like on that tower or whatever, and he's just like, oh man, that's just funny. I mean, some of that stuff is funny in the first movie, but some of it's serious. Most of it's serious. So thank you very much for watching, and this guy has something he wants to say. Catch you next time.